folks. This is Brandon with Collector's Maze, here with Richard Divizio. As you can see above me, he's playing a few characters you might recognize. So, without further ado, Richard Divizio, give us just a brief summations of why you're here.
What's going on, Brandon? So I'm Richard Divizio, aka Kano, Baraka, Kabal and Quan Chi from Mortal Kombat 1, 2, 3, and 4, and the Sub-Zero Mythologies from the #1 world historic video game, Mortal Kombat. And I actually play those characters that I mentioned. So if you played Mortal Kombat, you've played me. I do all the moves for all those characters I mentioned.
So when you say you've done the moves, it's motion capture also, as well as they also captured your likeness as well, right?
Well, actually, so we lock in the term, motion capture was the kind of the term that they would use when they started doing like infrared capture for 3D games.
Okay.
Before that, and that was right around Mortal Kombat 4. That was the first of the Mortal Kombat series that went to 3D. But before that, it was called digitization.
Okay.
So you were actually digitized. And the way we, did MK1 from the beginning was, it was high 8 video, and it was just recorded all to videotape. And then, so pretty much you're just digitized. But it wasn't until like MK4 is when they started to go 3D, and you'd be in a room with a bunch of infrared cameras filming from all different angles.
Okay.
And that was the beginning of motion capture, as they started to call it. And digitization, say that 3 times real fast. They kind of done that by the wayside, and filming of real people for the game. So pretty much I was out of a job. But the new Mortal Kombat games are great. Love them. I love all the the really cool moves and everything like that, and how they the bones breaking and the blood, and it's just really cool. But it started somewhere. It all starts somewhere, and it started with us. Mortal Kombat 1, 1992.
30
So
years.
that was the beginning of history. Yep, 30 years. That's right, 2022, 1992. And yeah, it's crazy. It's been a long ride, and the franchise is still going.
Yeah.
So we must have laid a really good foundation, because
fabulous foundation.
it's still going.
Absolutely.
It's awesome.
Absolutely. So, what was your favorite part of being part of this? Like, was it the work, or was it the experience?
Pretty much being able to work with your friends on a creative level. I grew up with John Tobias, who is the creator of Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Ed Boon, just for the record, is the programmer.
Okay.
I know he's considered a creator, so he's co-creator.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the artistry is concerned, John Tobias did all the art on that, right at the beginning. And I grew up with him since we were teenagers, and being able to just work on a project together. And I'm sure you'll ask me, how did that even come to be? And I'll tell you. So leading you into the next question, basically, Tobias, he was a comic book artist for Now Comics, and he drew for the real Ghostbusters. And he ended up getting a job at Midway Games, and he's just an amazing artist. And Daniel Pacina and myself, Danny plays Johnny Cage, Scorpion and all the ninjas, whatever. He and I, along with Ho Sung Pak, who plays Liu Kang,
Mm-hmm.
we all grew up together as well. It was just like one big happy family.
I had no idea.
We had just been Oh yeah, it's a long history. Um, you can buy my book or I'll send you one when I write it, and I'll put it all in there. I'll send you one.
Excellent.
Um, yeah, so the three of us were filming the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles film, The Secret of the Ooze with Vanilla Ice,
Okay. Yeah.
and this was like 1991 sometime. No, maybe 1990.
Hmm.
It was about 1990, between 1990 and 1991.
Hmm.
We had just come back from that film, and Tobias was working at Midway, and the phone rang at my house, and excuse me, my dad says there's a phone call for you. It's some guy named John. And I said, oh, okay, yeah, it's John Tobias. So I'm like, what's up? He says, hey, I'm working at Midway Games and working on a fighting game. And I said, okay, well, what's a fighting game, John? I'm a big Donkey Kong, Pac-Man, Tempest, Stargate, Defender, Galaga, all the classic games. I said, that's more my speed. I said,
Hmm.
what's a fighting game? He's like, well, have you ever seen Street Fighter? And I said, I may have. It's like some cartoon characters or something on a screen or whatever. He's like, yeah. He's like, so I'm at Midway and I gotta do a fighting game, and I have an idea. Can you guys come in? Can you get the fellas? So meaning, Daniel Pacina, Luke, Carlos Pacina, his brother, who ends up being Raiden, and Luke, I'm sorry, and Ho Sung Pak. So we all trained together doing kung fu since our childhood. But so I called Daniel, and you know, that was it. We went into Midway the next day, and next thing you know, history was born. Um, the beginnings of Mortal Kombat and the creation of it started right there. Um, yeah, it's just crazy to think that we were, like I said earlier, to be able to work with your buddy who's an artist, and you work on something creative. You don't know what's going to come of it. Um, and even like at the time, we weren't really aware that. We found out later on down the road that I guess the game was supposed to be a Jean Claude Van Damme game,
Hmm.
but I guess he didn't want to do it. And I'm guessing that John probably had his back up against the wall, like, oh, what am I going to do now? Van Damme doesn't want to do this. So he probably thought, well, wait a minute, my friends are martial artists, so
Hmm.
why don't I just call them? So, and I'm sure people think, along the way, like, that maybe we came from like an agency or something, like an acting agency or something like that. But
Those are your
it wasn't
bros.
like that. It was just more like, hey, I'm working on a game. Can you
That's
guys come in? I
awesome.
want to try something.
That's the absolute
And
best.
that's how it is. That's how it happened. That's like a once in a lifetime situation,
Yeah, that's
that
amazing.
that happens. It's just crazy. Yeah.
I knew
And
there was
then
magic behind it, but like this makes so much sense.
oh,
Like,
it's magic. Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, because you think about it and you're like, how did this even come to be? And there's a story behind it. And
Yep.
we did not have a female, and all of us worked at a health club in Chicago called the Lakeshore Athletic Club. And John and he had a sketch of a female character, and so Daniel, he kind of took the lead as far as finding someone for John, and uh, Daniel, myself, and Carlos. Yeah, we worked at this health club, and we knew this lady named Liz Malecki, and she was an aerobics instructor. She was not a martial artist, but um, we were able to show her how to kick and punch and all that stuff. So that's who Daniel picked, showed John, and next thing you know, Liz Malecki, the original Sonia,
Yeah.
she joined our group, and it was the five of us, and
So
so
awesome.
we're the original five.
It's amazing.
So
Like
yeah.
once in a lifetime indeed. So you said that you grew up learning kung fu with Daniel Pacina. Um, tell me about your martial arts background.
Well, I'll take you back to sixth grade when I had no martial arts background, and I was pretty much a baseball player growing up as a kid. Pee wee, little league, pony league. I
You
was
have
a
a
pretty good
baseball
player. I
name
probably
too.
should have stuck.
You definitely have a baseball name too.
Do I?
Yes, I like.
Why
If
is
I was
that?
to think, I don't know. It's just like Rizzuto. What other ones? There's a lot of Italian names in baseball.
Rizzo,
Yeah, Rizzo,
Vizio.
Russo,
Yeah,
all of those. Like it just
yeah,
feels like a baseball name.
yeah, yeah. I was pretty damn good too,
Yeah.
because man, my name was in the local papers and stuff as a kid, and I was a pretty good hitter, and I pitched, played first base, left field,
Okay.
so I was pretty good. I probably should have stuck with that, but by the time high school rolled around, I got bored of it, and I ended up DJing actually.
Okay.
So yeah, it's like DJ Kano. You know,
Great.
I should probably do that stuff today. I could wear like the red mask or something, and wear the costume.
Yeah.
Like some of these raves that they have or something.
There you go.
But yeah. But in sixth grade, there was this guy named Craig, and he came to school one day. Of course, he did. He came to school with a pair of nunchucks, Chaco sticks, we used to call
Yeah.
them. And he's doing all this like really cool stuff, and I'm thinking, like, what is that? Because I had never seen Enter the Dragon. I'd never seen a Bruce Lee movie. Like I said, I was playing baseball in the streets morning till night. And when he did that, I thought, oh wow, those are pretty cool. I want to know more about this. So I said, where did you learn how to do that thing with these sticks? He says, I learned them from my friend Danny, from my teacher Danny. I'm thinking, okay, well you're gonna have to introduce him to me. Now, what is it? Sixth grade? Okay, about sixth or seventh, I think. So that might have happened in seventh grade because I still knew Craig. And I might have been. I think yeah, right around that time, 12, 13,
Mhm.
sometime. Uh, he introduces me to Danny, and Danny ends up being Daniel Pesina.
Hmm.
Daniel was 10 years older than us, so let me say I was about 13. Daniel was 23, and he had a younger brother named Carlos, and that's Carlos Pesina, who ends up becoming Raiden in the
Mhm.
future. And so, next thing you know, it's Craig, myself, Daniel, and Carlos. Carlos was more my age, so we were both like 13. And Daniel had trained in Seven Star Praying Mantis, Northern Shaolin, and he was going to a school up on the north side of Chicago, learning Praying Mantis. So, uh, and he ended up becoming my coach. And one of the students that went to his school, this school where they were learning Seven Star Praying Mantis, there was a guy named Ho Sung Pak and Anthony Marquez, who becomes Kung Lao in the future. So you can see you have these young kids who are Liu Kang, Kung Lao, Johnny Cage, and all the ninjas,
Mhm.
Kano, Baraka, Kabal, Quan Chi, and Raiden, and we all grew up together since we were young.
You
We
never would
became
have
a martial
guessed.
arts team.
That's crazy.
No, we all grew up together. So we had a martial arts team we called Chicago Wushu,
Hmm.
and we were doing Chinese kung fu after our traditional seven-star praying mantis. Uh, we called the Chicago Wushu team, and we would travel around to tournaments in the United States. And Ho Song Pak was pretty damn good. I mean, he was awesome. And wushu, if you don't know really what it is, I could just describe it to you as it was very flashy kind of kung fu. It's kind of like what Jet Li does today in film, and in fact, in a lot of the films that you see today, you'll see a lot of elements of wushu because
Shang-Chi.
Jackie Chan's more traditional, but yeah, Jackie Chan's more traditional kung fu, but Jet Li and you see everything in all the Disney movies and the John Wick films. You see wushu everywhere. That's the whole new thing because it looks great on film. And so Yeah, we just trained through our teen years, and Danny was always 10 years older than us, so he was getting older, and we all just traveled and hung out together. And fast forward, when I'm like 22 years old, Danny's what, 32. Ho Sung Pak was a grand champion on the NASCA circuit in the karate tournaments around the
Wow.
United States. Karate tournaments don't only have karate; they also have kung fu as well, and taekwondo and things like that. Whatever anyone does, it's very mixed martial art, whatever. Not to get confused with mixed martial arts, but you go to a martial arts tournament, you're going to have different styles. But Ho Sung Pak was so damn good that he was seen by one of Hollywood's uh, premier stunt coordinators named Pat Johnson. Now, Pat Johnson was the guy that, if you ever saw Karate Kid, and Billy Zabka and Ralph Macchio are there, and there's a referee that's in the middle with a mustache. He's got the red shirt that says referee on it. He's the one who does. He's like, he looks at both of them and he says, break. That guy in the middle there, if you go back to Karate Kid 1, that's Pat Johnson,
Wow.
friend of Bruce Lee, friend of Chuck Norris,
Mhm.
and he was the stunt choreographer for the Karate Kid films,
Mhm.
and he was a stunt coordinator for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Mhm.
And in 1990, when they did TMNT 1, after they did that and they were going to go on to Turtles 2, the director had some issues with working with the turtles that were in the stunt turtle costumes, um, because of the communication barrier. And the director's like, I want them to do a kick here, I want them to do a kick there. And they asked Pat Johnson, can you guys just get some like local, like American martial artists that are on the tournament circuit that are really good, and we'll put those guys in the turtle suit. So now you're talking like 1990. This is before Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Daniel Pacina, myself, and Ho Sung Pak are working out like our 4 to 5 hour a day training sessions, doing our kung fu up near Ho Sung Pak's house. And we go back to Ho's house because we're hungry and we want to eat, especially after doing our kung fu. And the phone rings, and it's Pat Johnson. I don't know that because Ho Sung answers the phone, and I'm starving. I'm starving. I want to eat. And I'm like, oh, let's go. Let's just go eat. Forget it.
Mhm.
He's like, doing this. And so we're sitting there. I'm starving to death. And he gets off the phone. He's like, you'll never believe who that was. We're like, who? Let's go eat. We're going to Wendy's. We're going to go eat. So he's like, that was Pat Johnson, stunt coordinator for the Turtles. I mean, yeah, the Turtles films, Karate Kid. And he wanted Ho Sung to get on a plane and in 1 week be in England to get fitted to play Raphael. So he was actually sought out in the tournament circuit because Ho Sung was pretty badass. So um, yeah, so right away Danny and I said, well, we're going to be in the film, right? You're going to get us in there. So yeah, Danny and I ended up becoming foot soldiers in Turtles 2,
Wow.
and Ho Sung was Raphael. So we went and did that. We were in North Carolina for about 3 months. And when we got back to Chicago, that is when John Tobias called and said, now I'm working on this video game.
Mhm.
And, we went from Turtles 2, working on one big franchise,
Mhm.
into working on something that's going to
The
become
franchise.
a history making franchise. So I've been part of two franchises that are successful,
All timers.
so now my dream is to become a part of the Star Wars franchise.
Oh.
So John Favreau, if you hear these interviews one day, or if anybody knows them, just contact me because I am a huge Star Wars fan. Um, yeah, 1977, I was 9 years old, and you know, I watched Mandalorian, and you know, and Book of Boba Fett. Those are my shows. I love them. Yeah,
I'm right there with
my
you.
wife's brother works for Disney. Yeah, my wife's brother works for Disney. So yeah, he works at the parks in Florida, and we recently were out there, and I had never been to Disney World before, so I definitely visited Galaxy's Edge, which I don't know if you've been there, but it's
Not
pretty
yet.
cool. Just the way it is. Yeah, it's the detail, the level of detail that goes into to making it. And I saw the Millennium Falcon. Well, that was pretty cool. So
Yep.
that's what Kano's into. So I'm a big
I'm
Star
right there
Wars
with
fan.
I'm right there with you. My kids were playing with lightsabers earlier, like literally playing with lightsabers right now. Yeah, right before bed. So absolutely understand
Awesome. I
that.
hope these stories aren't boring you.
Ah,
Hope these
are you
are
kidding? Or no, no,
are.
no, no. Like this is
I mean, a
absolute
lot of people
gold.
might not know. I mean, whenever we do like we do conventions and stuff,
Mhm.
some people are like, "Do you live in California? Do you live in California? Is that where you're from?" And I'm like, no, we're like from Chi-Town. We grew up in Chicago. We're Chicago guys, and
Yeah,
hey, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? You're from Chicago,
yeah.
No, but born and raised, yeah, yeah. We're not from an agency or nothing. It all started with just a few friends, and boy, it turned into this thing. You
If
it's just
yeah,
lightning in a bottle.
if anybody ever needed
It's
motivation to
crazy.
work with their friends and do something awesome, here it is.
Yeah,
Here it
I
is.
would just have to say, if you know a lot of creative people, get together, do something. And you know what? It's so easy. I mean, think about it. Back then, we used like a cheap high eight camera,
Yeah.
which was probably the best camera at the time. It wasn't cheap, but I could tell you quality wise, and memory wise, you know, uh, there just wasn't enough memory to do a whole hell of a lot back then. And now, you can just do something with your iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you know,
Yep.
so and people are doing it, which is great. And you see the explosion of YouTube, and it's so awesome that content creators, media creators can do all this kind of stuff. It's just
Like I'm right there with you.
it's
I'm
great.
talking
It
to
was
Richard
different times
Divizio.
back then.
Like I'm this guy. Like I am bottom tier. I am bowing to your greatness. Seriously.
Rip that heart out. Rip that heart out.
Absolutely
uh,
amazing. Like
yeah, we were doing all that stuff back when it was just all right, here we go.
yep.
It's just cool. But you know what? So check this out.
Yep.
So over the years, after the three digitized games, MK 1, 2, and 3, and then it went to 4, and I was Quan Chi in there. Do not fail me. We have toyed with the ninja long enough. Do not question me, Serena, and more importantly, do not fail me. Yeah, those were great. Those were great times. We
yeah.
we loved it. It was awesome. But so after that, I'm talking about a little bit further down, like, you know, you go and get married, you have kids, they grow up. I'm working a regular job. It's 2012. Who knows what Mortal Kombat they're on? They're on, I don't know, Mortal Kombat 8, 9,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. I'm working a regular job, and we have a friend here in Chicago who owns pretty much the largest arcade in the world. Has about 1,000 arcade games, the traditional stand-up arcade games. It's called the Galloping Ghost Arcade,
Mm.
on Ogden Avenue in Brookfield, Illinois. So if you ever get a chance to come out this way, he's got so many awesome games and some
That's
rare ones
amazing.
too, and one-offs and prototype games. It's awesome. But anyway, his name is Doc Mack. He is the owner. Um, he had called us in 2012, and he says, "Hey, I'm having a Shang Tsung's fight night. Do you want to get together with Daniel and Carlos and Ho Sung, and you guys maybe come on over to the tournament?" And I said, why do you want us there? He says, well, don't you know who you are? I said, what do you mean? He goes,
Exactly.
you're like the guys from Mortal Kombat. I said, yeah, but that was a while ago. I mean, it was like, that was a while ago.
Yeah.
He's like, no, 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 no. You guys are famous. I'm like,
Yeah.
ha, okay, because we had never gotten like the recognition.
Oh yeah.
And it's not like we're millionaires. I mean, we got paid, for doing the game, and that was
Yeah.
it. Um, so yeah, I'm like, all right, well, you want us to come to the Shanks on what do you want us there for? He's like, oh no, maybe you guys can judge or whatever. He's like, but no, there's going to be fans here. People want to meet you,
Hmm.
and we're thinking, who wants to meet us? So we're like, all right, we'll show up. So we show up there, and I guess he printed out like some 8x10 glossy pictures or something.
Hmm.
And he had all these like on a table and markers and everything, and we didn't expect this. So we get there, and there's a line around the arcade. Like I'm gonna say it's like 673 people.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what he numbered. And
Wait till October.
we're and we're walking in, and people know us by name. And I'm thinking, like, how do you know this? I completely forgot that at the end of the game, like our name is there, like Richard Divizio, Kano, whatever, Baraka, played by.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. I mean, I was never that good at the game because there's some awesome players out there,
Oh, there really is.
professional players too.
Yep.
Yeah, and I had never gotten to the end or whatever, and so I never knew my name was at the end.
Oh snap.
Okay, so we're walking in, and people are like, "Oh, Rich Divizio, it's Kano," and it's just crazy, and we got to meet everyone and shake their hands and take pictures. This was way before COVID. You're talking 2012,
Yep.
and I mean, to feel the recognition and the love from the fans. That's kind of this was like, I'm gonna say this was before the whole like the real
Or
hit of
internet. Yeah.
convention life,
Yeah.
and cosplay. I mean, there's internet, but you know, convention and
Yeah.
cosplay and things that I didn't know about were going on. I remember as a kid there were like comic conventions, but it was never like a comic
It was like buy and sell
entertainment
comic
convention.
books, right?
Yeah,
The
buy
old
and
ones.
sell
Yeah.
comic books. But what's awesome, and I love this for the fans, and I love this for anyone who's in like the entertainment world. Um, um, I'll always go on record to say that I'm so grateful or for everything, and I'm always happy when someone else has success. Um, Even if I don't have success, I'm happy for someone else.
Yeah.
Um, like for instance, like I am so happy for Ralph Macchio and Billy Zabka because I'm like a huge like Cobra Kai fan,
Yes.
and for those guys to come back after 30 years as well,
Yeah.
um, and have a Netflix series, um, I'm so glad that they did this. I'm so happy for them. I don't know what they were doing after that,
Yeah.
but for them to come back and have such a kick-ass show, and you know what, the writing on that show is great.
It's not bad at
Um,
all. I was
and we
shocked.
got to meet, we got to we got to meet those guys too because we were in Chicago at C2E2,
Okay.
and our agent had talked to someone, and we left our table. We got to go over to meet Ralph Macchio and Billy Zabka, so we have photos with them, and they were so generous and just great guys. Um, Nothing bad to say about those guys. Those guys are great. If you haven't watched Cobra Kai, you need to go watch it. It's
100%.
awesome, and
It's really good.
I'm genuinely just happy for those guys that they are back, in entertainment, on Netflix and stuff. It's awesome. Just
Absolutely.
so happy for those guys. But
For sure.
yeah. But back to the fans, the Mortal
Okay.
Kombat fans. They're awesome. They come up to the table and they're like, I named my daughter Melina, and things like that. So it's just,
Yeah.
thank you to all you guys. So we love you.
Yeah. No, honestly, it's been an honor and a pleasure. Like legit, I'm one of those fans. Like this is amazing. So I got one last question, and I don't know if
Okay.
let's see. Who's your favorite to play?
My favorite to play would probably be Quan Chi because of the fact that, I always wanted to be an actor. Um, and I almost pursued it and went to LA. But I was kind of sidetracked for a little bit. My mother had passed in 1995, and so I kind of stayed home, take care of the family,
Completely
and so I
understand.
never really went out to Hollywood and did that.
Yeah.
So, but when we did MK4, John Tobias through actually it was before MK4. I'm sorry, between MK3 and MK4 we did the Sub-Zero Mythologies, um, which I worked on with John Turk and Leah Montalongo. Leah plays Serena, and John Turk played Sub Zero. And John had put these little acting scenes in the game. I guess if you got to a certain level, you got to do these. You get to see these FMVs, full motion video scenes that we created against a green screen. So those actually have become like an internet sensation, especially the bloopers. Um, and if you look those up online, I'm sure people have. That's where Leah and I are. Do not fail. Well, then I mess up, and then do not question me, Serena.
Yeah.
So everybody loves those. They're so cool. But that was the most fun to play
Okay.
is Quan Chi. I guess Baraka was probably the worst because of the fact that, I had to wear something like this, which was a nightmare to wear.
That's
So
incredible.
this is not the original mask. Um, these are masks that I have for sale. So if anyone wants them, and you're going to be in Kansas with me, I
Yes, it
will
will.
have these at the table. So just so you know. Um, Anyhow,
October
there's a
7th.
long story about that, and we can talk about that at the panel. I'm sure there'll be a panel
Absolutely.
in Kansas. So yeah, but Kano will always be, because that was the first character that I brought to life on screen. So that'll always be a love there. And Kabal,
Mhm.
Kabal was not that bad. I did have a mask, but it was not as bad as Baraka.
Okay.
Baraka was just,
I
it
can
was
imagine
hot.
how much
I had to jump
latex.
around and
Oh,
sweat. Oh, latex face mask. Oh, it was yeah. Wouldn't want to do that again, unless of course it was in the next Mortal Kombat film.
right? Exactly.
By the
So,
way, I like the new Mortal Kombat film.
yeah,
Yeah,
you like that?
I don't know if you liked it, but
I was a
I
fan.
loved it, and I actually contacted Josh Lawson, who played Kano,
Yeah.
and I told him welcome to the Mortal Kombat family, and he got back to me. So he said thank you, and so but
Respect.
yeah,
That's
maybe they
awesome.
need a Baraka in there, or what'd be cool is if we did some cameos.
There you go. That'd be cool. That
You
would be
know,
very cool.
that would be great. So
Absolutely.
anyhow,
So I another other side question. I also read that you use spirit gum to attach the the face mask for the
oh,
first
the
Kano.
Kano mask.
Yeah. Did you ever like? Because spirit
Yeah,
gum isn't
yeah,
really a
that
good
kind.
adhesive, was it?
Not when you're jumping around and you're doing all the jump kicks and you're sweating.
Yeah.
So it would fall off, and then we had to dry my face off. And then, but the problem is that you can dry my face off as much as you want, but if I'm jumping around and sweating them and there's light shining on me,
Yep.
my body temperature is rising. So I'm hot. So I'm just going to keep sweating and sweating. So now you got to put and apply more glue, and it was crazy.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
we had a good time, making the game. So
Absolutely.
it was fun.
Definitely worth
Yeah.
it then. All right. Well, that's all the questions I have. What's one thing you'd like to say before we sign off?
Thank you to all the Mortal Kombat fans, and we hope to meet all of you in Kansas And I'm not sure how many people know that October 8th is actually the official day that the Mortal Kombat arcade stand-up machine was released into the arcades back in 1992. And this event in Kansas uh, is 30 years later on October 8th, and it just happens to fall on a Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
So
Perfect.
if you want to talk about a real 30th anniversary reunion, you got to get down to Kansas because that's where we're going to be.
Absolutely.
And that's where we're going to have fun. And we'll see you there. And do not fail.
All right. Thank you very much,
That's all I
Richard.
can say. See you then.
Awesome.
All
Thanks.
right. All
Thank
right,
you.
brother.